Thank you again, everyone. Now I'd like to introduce Shugato Das, Director of Partnering at Bio, who'll get us started by introducing our esteemed panelists. Agora eu gostaria de introduzir a Shugato Das, diretor do Partnering em Bio. Shugato empieza a discussão e introduz nossos oradores. Ahora me gustaría presentar a Shugato Das, director de Partnering en Bio, quien empieza el discurso y presenta a nuestros oradores.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome to Biotech Deals, Trends, and Partnering in Latin America, the perspective of the buyer. My name is Shugato Das, Director of Partnering at Bio. I'll be moderating this session. Bio Latin America is a premier partnering conference for Latin America. It's a place where biotechs, regulators, academia, and investors can network and get together and have private one-on-one meetings with each other. This allows a great deal of collaboration and business development to occur and really helps ensure the future of the biotech market in Latin America. We're proud to bring you this session in collaboration with Thomson Reuters and BioWorld. Biotech in Latin America is very exciting, and if we take Brazil as an example, it's a fast-growing market with growth of about 12% compound annual growth rate in the last few years, and it is projected to be the fourth largest market by 2017 in terms of biotech and biopharma. Investment by BNDES, Brazil's development bank, is increasing fast. From 2011 to 2013, investment increased 275%. So it's an exciting market, an exciting time for that market, and the Bio Latin America is a great opportunity to really get the latest on what's going on and be an influencer in this key and exciting market. Before starting, let me give a quick explanation of partnering at the Bio Latin America Conference. Partnering consists of the ability to have private 30-minute one-on-one meetings with potential partners and other entities such as economic development teams as well as academics. This provides a great environment for you to be able to advance your business development interests at the Bio Latin America Conference. Before doing introductions, let me give a quick instructional, because we will be having a question and answer session. You can use the question and answer functionality you should see on your GoToWebinar panel to ask questions at any time. You do so via typing those questions. Then, towards the end of the session, we'll change to a question and answer mode where I'll go through the questions and select the questions and pose them to the panelists. Afterwards, we may end up with questions that we did not have time to answer. For those questions, they will be submitted to our panelists, and our panelists will answer them, or some of them, offline. And those answers will be posted on the Biotech Now blog that is provided by Bio. So you can check the Biotech Now blog to get the answers to any questions that were not answered during this panel. So with that, let me move on to the introduction of our esteemed panelists. We are very fortunate to have a really super panel, quite frankly. These are some of the movers and shakers in the biotech business development, licensing, and investment market, especially in the biopharma space in Brazil and Latin America. And I'm really looking forward to having the conversation with them. Alphabetically, we have Alejandra Baggio, who is Director of Business Development at Sanofi. Next, we have Carolina Trammell, who is the Director of New Business Development at Daiichi Sankyo in Brazil. Next, we have Eduardo Suro, Director of Business Development Latin America at Mundi Pharma. And finally, we have Tiago Merez Guia, MD, PhD, Medical and Scientific Manager at Bionovis SA. So thank you all for joining, and we really appreciate your input and views. So let me start off by letting you give a better introduction than I would give. Alejandra, could you start us off with a quick introduction to yourself?
Yeah. Nice to be with you, Sogato, with the team, the interviewers. There's also hello to all the people that are participating. My name is Alexandre Bojo. I'm worked for Sanofi for 2 years. Previous of that, I was the CFO for Walt Disney Company. And also I have experience on the Eat Sancho. I worked together with Carolina. I have had the pleasure to work with her. At the time I was the finance director and the administrative director. I worked also for Kraft Foods, food segment, and also for Dow Chemical. I have been working for 21 years, and it's a pleasure to be here with you.
And Carolina?
Hi, hello everybody. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you today. My name is Carolina, and I'm the head of New Business and Development Department for the Sancho Brazil. I've been working for the pharmaceutical industry for the last 20 years, and my major experience was building sales and marketing. I had chance to work for big global pharmaceutical companies such as Novartis, Bayer, AstraZeneca, and I've joined Daiichi Sankyo in 2007, at that time as a marketing leader. More recently, about 1 year and a half ago, the company changed the structure, and I was invited to be in charge of this new and exciting challenge as new businesses. So I'd like to also take this moment to thank you, Mr. Sugato, and Bio colleagues for the invitation to be part of this panel with so distinguished panelists that happens to be my good friends too. So thank you very much and enjoy. I hope that we enjoy the panel.
Great. And Eduardo? Eduardo, if you could do an introduction for yourself.
Hello. Sure. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Eduardo Tsuru. I'm the head of BD at Mundipharma for Latin America. I have been working in the pharmaceutical industry for the last 12 years, covering areas such as Salesforce, market intelligence, SFE, strategic planning, and BD. In companies such as AstraZeneca, Janssen, Actelion, Boehringer, and now Mundipharma. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Sugato and Bio members, for the invitation. And I'm glad to be here among friends. Thank you very much.
Great. And finally, Tiago?
Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Sugato and Bio, for the kind invitation for me and for BioNovis to participate in this panel. Well, I joined the pharmaceutical industry only 3 years ago. Before that, I was mostly in the academia, working in the interface between in the industry. But in the past 20 years, my career was fully devoted to biotechnology, mostly biopharmaceutical biotechnology. And my main focus has been in R&D. And more recently, I joined BioNovis, being responsible for the medical and scientific department at the company. And just a tiny mention about BioNovis. It's a new company, it was created 2 years ago, and is devoted to develop biopharmaceuticals such as monoclonal antibodies in the beginning for the Brazilian market, but we also have a project of developing innovative compounds as well to other markets.
Thanks, Tiago. So let's jump right into it. I think what a lot of people are wondering, especially those that are that will be coming to the Bio Latin America conference, is what are your goals and your department's goals for the next few years when it comes to partnering and deal making? So Alejandro, let's start with you. What do you think are the Sanofi Brazil's goals when it comes to partnering and deal making in the Latin America market?
Okay, thank you for the question, Sogato. I think basically when we talk about Sanofi, we are talking about the biggest pharmaceutical company in Latin America and Brazil, and this grants to us the chance that we can be a special partner for the companies. I'm saying that since we have areas as oncology, as diabetes, as CHC, so we have the full bundle of pharmaceutical company industry, and due to that we can we can be thought as a very good partner for that. And saying that, what we look for a good partner, it's of course the first, it's a company that has some ethical standards, very good quality standards, and that can be, and when we can do a fair and good partnership, good for the patients, good for the companies. So basically, what we look for, it's products that could complete our grid, or could complete the patient needs in order to better attend the population demands.
Great, thanks. Thanks. That's very useful. Carolina, how about you at Daiichi Sankyo Brazil? What are some of the goals that you and your department have as far as deal making and partnering?
Well, Daiichi Sankyo in Brazil, it's a mid-sized company, so we are willing very strongly to enhance and grow our business not only in Brazil but also Latin America. For that, we defined a clear strategic path for short, mid, and long term. Essentially, Daiichi Sankyo had focused its business in cardiology area in the past years. And of course, now this therapeutic area remains as our core business, and we are still looking for opportunities in cardiovascular area. But also, we understood that we can find good opportunities for growth in other important therapeutic areas. And therefore, last year we have the chance to enter in new areas for Daiichi Sankyo, such as CNS, gastroenterology, orthopedy, pain, and hospital also. And this is for sure our first main goal. So reinforce our portfolio in these specific therapeutic areas, including cardiology. But also, we had clear and strategic view to enhance for new therapeutic areas. And for that matter, we can relate it to the pipeline products that we are expecting to launch in Brazil from in the future. And this means oncology, more biotechnology involved products.
Well, great. That sounds like there are a lot of upcoming opportunities, and the interest is fairly broad. What about you, Eduardo? What is Mundi Pharma's aspirations in the Latin American market as far as deal making and partnering?
Okay, so Mundi Pharma is a pain specialist company, but we are also covering other therapeutic areas such as consumer, oncology, hematology, and specialty care products. So, in a glance, what my main target here in Latin America is to contribute with 20% of revenues for the region by 2018. So I have this aspiration number, and I must contribute with around 20% of total revenues within the region, and that's it.
Okay, great. Looks like you have your work cut out for you.
Yeah.
Tiago, as a member of the newest pharma company on the block, one which is indigenous, if you will, to Brazil, we'd be very interested to hear from your perspective. What are the goals as far as partnering and deal making?
Okay, we are the smallest company for sure. Bionovis, as I said, was created only 2.5 years ago. It's a joint venture between 4 of the largest pharmaceutical companies in Brazil. Bionovis is completely independent and is fully focused on biopharmaceuticals. So our main project today is about biosimilars. We are developing 8 biosimilars, highly complex biosimilars like monoclonal antibodies. And our main goal in the beginning was to find the ideal partner to transfer technology for these products, to produce these products to Bionovis and to Brazil. We have a commitment to build a manufacturing plant here in the country, and we have to absorb the full process. I mean, from the master cell bank through upstream, downstream, and fill and finish. And finding the best partner for that was quite tricky. And we talked almost to every company that is currently developing biosimilars. So our first goal was find the best partner available that had the best products under development. And this first goal is achieved. We partnered with Merck Serono, Merck from Germany, and now we are in the process of putting this project out of the paper, like starting tech transfer and building the facility. So this is the initial part, the initial goal.
Okay, great, great. Well, in the Latin American market, and in Brazil especially, we see that 95% of Brazilian biotech companies are connected to universities and research centers via partnerships. And as I mentioned before, BNDES investment is an important source of biotech financing. Does this present challenges or at least differences when partnering with companies like these that are connected to the academic or research centers or financed by the Brazilian Development Bank as compared to venture-backed companies? I mean, how are you finding partnering in Latin America, in Brazil, and the differences that maybe are involved with that as compared to typical venture-backed biotechs that you might see in Western Europe or North America? If I could pose that question generally to the panel, if you guys have any thoughts or perspectives.
Well, in my opinion, I think there is a lot of room to improve new deals, not only in Latin America, but maybe especially in Brazil. As we all been following, Brazil is showing a very sustainable and good trend in terms of not only values but in units also in the past years, and the expectation is to see this continue to increase. On the other hand, although the government is increasing the level of investment, I think we in Brazil are still very behind when it's about new research, I mean original research. So for that reason, in the incoming years, 2 or 5 years from now, my opinion is that we're gonna still see a lot of these licensing or co-promotion, co-marketing deals rather than original research came from Latin America.
Sure, sure.
From Sanofi, there's a difference between when we talk about a deal as a pharmaceutical company like Daiichi Sankyo, like Bionovis or Mundipharma, and when we go to the academical, as you said, Sugato. Usually Brazil, there is room to improve, as Carolina said, and we as Sanofi, we have a specific area called strategic alliances. It's not under my responsibility, but under a very important director here, where he's the person that in charge to do this link between the universities, the academical research, the academical background in Brazil, to develop that. And also we work together with Biominas, a non-profitable organization, to help us to do this linkage between the universities there in Brazil. What we can see in Brazil is that we are growing, as we can see, like Bionovis. It's an important company that are great to Brazil, and I'm glad that we have companies like Bionovis appearing. And as we can support or fund the local development in Brazil, or indeed development in Brazil, the better for our country, the better for Latin America. So for Sanofi, we see as good eyes. We are always also looking for opportunities in universities. We have exclusively an area to do that. It's split by BD, but we work pretty together, because usually we are talking about phase 1, preclinical trials, something like this, that since we are in an embryonic moment, but we are always looking, and as BD, we try to see how we can support that.
Great, thank you. So,
just one comment?
Sure, please.
Okay. As Carolina mentioned, we lack in Brazil the discovery step. We have, of course, excellence in several academic institutions and research institutes in Brazil, but making the bridge to the industry is yet a huge gap that we have here. as Alexandre mentioned, maybe with Bionovis and other companies that are creating local capabilities, not only like phase 3 trials or arms of clinical trials as research and development in Brazil, but really the true development chain, when it is established in the country, maybe we're going to reach a critical mass that's going to start the creation of more startups that are going to drive more academic-driven researchers to do not only academic research, but also technological development. So when this time comes, maybe we're going to reach the point of doing some discovery in Brazil that can be translated into the industry.
Great. Thanks, Tiago. Well, partnering in Latin America has increased in the last 5 years, despite a slight dip in 2013, according to Thomson Reuters data. There's certainly been an increase in co-marketing, manufacturing, and innovation deals, although innovation deals have been the minority, as Carolina pointed out. What, if I could pose a question to the panel in general, what is your expectation for the next 5 years? Will the deal landscape continue to be mainly co-marketing and manufacturing deals, or will we see more innovation and VC financing deals start to come in?
Well, I believe that the partner trend will remain quite similar for the next 5 years, mainly co-marketing and manufacturing deals locally and even in Latin America. And we also should be very affected as well from global deals and partnerships. But I believe that the trend will be, in my opinion, pretty similar that we have seen during the past years.
Okay.
I agree with Eduardo. I think we're going to see for the next 2 or even 5 years the same trend that we have experienced in the past. Maybe a little bit more distribution agreements with license for innovative products, but again, I don't think in the short term we'll see much original new business came from Latin America.
Okay.
Yeah, in my opinion, I pretty agree with Eduardo and Carolina, but I want to raise a point that I strongly believe that technology will start to be part of this partnership. When I say technology, not only we are talking about pure medicine, pure pharmaceutical products, but as we see some Google developing some contact lenses, and it's public, make some deal with Novartis. So I really think that this will be a new player in the room to discuss for we as business development is how we can put in our daily routine technologies to be part of this. So we will be talking about medicines, we will be talking about manufacturing, but I think technology will be some very key element in the 5 years, I believe.
Yeah, if you talk about pharmaceutical industry in Brazil, some of the local companies are already investing in innovation, so even in-house or partnering. But regarding biotech, I agree with my colleagues in the panel that we are still behind many countries. But in this time frame that was mentioned, like 3 to 5 years, all these companies that are now building their capabilities will have in the country the critical mass, the infrastructure, human resources that are trained to proper manufacture these products. And we are going to learn from our partners, our big pharma partners. So in parallel, at least this is Bionovis' point of view, we will be in a good position to start some innovative development, of course, co-development, in a few years. So maybe in 5 years, we will be able to start some real development, not only for Brazil, but for the global perspective with partners that may take advantage of the infrastructure and knowledge that we have absorbed.
Great, and 5 years, although it may seem like a long time when it comes to biotechnology and pharmaceutical development, it's actually not that long of a time, certainly.
Yeah, that's right.
Single drug can take 10 years. And recently, we've seen some pretty interesting deals in the Latin America market. For example, out of Cuba, the Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology and the newly formed Avavax out of France had a deal regarding vaccine research and development. And if successful, the vaccine would be marketed in Europe and other areas. So we're seeing, a good number of kind of international deals. Another one, Recalcine Pharmaceutical Corporation from Chile and Institut Pasteur from France signed an agreement for the research of a monoclonal antibody therapy for pain. And recently in December, for example, the International Vaccine Institute out of South Korea entered into agreement with the Instituto Butantan out of Brazil, working with VA Biotech out of Vietnam to develop a novel live attenuated dengue vaccine. That was supported in part from a grant by the German Federal Ministry of Education and Research. So we're seeing a lot of interesting multinational collaborations start to take place. Were there any particular deals that maybe your company has done recently, or any deals in the market that you think kind of might highlight or speak to some of these trends that we might see in the time frame of 5 years and afterwards?
Well, if I can start, Sugat, first of all, I pretty agree with you. What we can see nowadays is that emerging markets, it's not news, but it's not new, but emerging markets is becoming more important nowadays. So you can see a lot of partnerships being done in Brazil or Latin America. Some companies from Europe or United States divesting some of their business areas and investing in Brazil or also in Latin America. So we are seeing even more, it's not news, but we see even more this migration. When you talk about this, we can see as Latin America, we can see two things that could be for us as BD. One is good and another is a challenge, because the good ones that Brazil and Latin America, they are the place to be, or any other emerging market also. And when you talk about that, sometimes for business development, this could be pretty good, but we also see that as time passes, we see companies entering Brazil or entering Latin America by themselves. So this could be some challenge for creating licensing as we talk. One important deal that we did, it's public here in Brazil. It's a partnership that we did, a very innovative one, when we see it regarding the type of disease, diabetes, that's increasing pretty much in Latin America, and the innovative concept of this partnership. We in Brazil closed a deal with Nestle, the food segment company. It's a kind of innovative portfolio for diabetes solution for their meals. So they replace one or two of their meals by Nestle products. And these products, we as Sanofi are promoting these products in the point of sales. They are only sold in pharmacies. So we are combining the technology that Nestle has for very good food, very good quality of food, with higher standards and focused only on diabetes. So these products are only sold in pharmacies and being promoted by our sales force. So this is showing the opportunities that we have in Latin America. It's a partnership between both important companies, Sanofi and Nestle, focused in a disease that's unfortunately increasing in Brazil. So we are providing new solutions to our patients, coupled with the fact that we are thinking as a company not only on the medicine that this person will take, but we are thinking in a more holistic approach, in a 360 approach for this patient. So we are offering to him the insulin, but we are offering to him also the meals to them. Coupled with that, we also do some local developments. Going to diabetes, we just launched it also, it's public, moisturizing for diabetes fit. since we know that it's very dry, the people that has diabetes, their skin are dry. So we are not only doing partners like Nestle, but we are developing, doing local developing and producing in Brazil this moisturizing for diabetes treatment. So we are focusing in Brazil and investing on this kind of partnerships or even local developments.
Great, great. Thank you, Alejandra.
From my side, what I can comment is that we at H-Thank we have a small presence in Latin America today, although, as I mentioned before, we do have clear path to growth in Latin America, but nowadays we essentially had commercial activities only in Brazil and Venezuela. And also we do have agreements all around Latin America licensing our products. One point that I can share with you guys is that we decided as a way to enhance our portfolio and enhance our business, not only in Brazil, but also in the other countries, is to start with what we call hybrid business model. Meaning that we have in our portfolio core product, which full a patent product, but also some branded generics. Nowadays, we don't work with pure generics, but essentially branded generics and reference innovative products mixed in the same grid. This is one of the challenges that we are doing, and one of the ways that we find to growth in those type of countries where we know that branded generic and generic are the main drivers for the market growth. In that regard, what I can mention that last year we had a chance to expand our business from cardiology to other therapeutical areas, and therefore we launched products in CNS, in gastroenterology, in orthopedy, and all of these products was the result from deals that we made in different type of business model, like co-promotion agreements, distribution agreements, license, exclusive license agreement. So my opinion, bottom line, is just that I think Brazil and also the Latin American countries, there is a lot of room to improve. We know that the branded generics and generic, because of the marketing dynamics, are the main driver for the market growth. But there is still a lot of unmet medical need, as Alexandre mentioned, type 2 diabetes and other chronic disease that should be addressed. And therefore, there is still also for sure room to have biotechnology products being graded to be launched in Brazil and Latin America.
Great. So let me jump into the next topic that a lot of our audience is probably wondering about. There will be a lot of companies and biotechs at the Bio Latin America conference and otherwise that might want to partner with you. As I mentioned during the introduction, Bio Latin America offers a forum where these companies can set up private 30-minute meetings with you, with your company or with companies like your companies. And at Bio Latin America, Bio's one-on-one partnering system allows companies to request these meetings. Can you offer some advice on what details you would like to see in a meeting request? Again, this isn't the presentation that someone would show during a meeting, but what can someone put in a meeting request to you or your company that would get you interested and pique your interest and have you consider a meeting with them?
Well, from our side, would be great to see on the invitation the main interest of the meeting, right? Pointing the possibilities, the alternatives for the potential partnerships, and things like that. So being very straight to the point and showing exactly what we should expect from the meeting. That's what I would expect to receive and what would catch my attention in order to accept or not meet invitation at Bio Latin America.
Great.
Yeah, okay. Also
go ahead, Tiago. I was just about to ask you.
Okay, and implementing what Eduardo said, Eduardo precisely described what would be a good request for a meeting. but also it would be very important for the company to do its homework, like understanding that for biopharmaceuticals in Brazil, we have, for instance, a very strict regulation. So this is from our experience within Bionovis. We have been approached by many potential partners in the past that had a different idea about the regulatory framework in Brazil. So we lost many opportunities of a very objective discussion because some of these potential partners thought that in Brazil we could have like non-biosimilars approved by the regulatory agency. So understanding that the Brazilian landscape is as FDA and EMA in terms of requirements, highly regulated requirements, will be very interesting because this will be an initial filter that could give us the opportunity to discuss on products or opportunities that are really feasible for the Brazilian market.
Thanks, Tiago. And there's certainly, if I may add, a lot of resources that companies and individuals can use to do that homework and that background research that you indicated. Thomson Reuters databases being one of them. Carolina and Alejandro, what about you? What entices you in a partnering invitation to me?
Well, my advice will be as objective as possible. Present your idea and go straight to the point. Avoid losing time on what is not essential to this specific moment because 30 minutes really fly. So focus your presentation on your main capabilities. But also, as Thiago mentioned, let me know your main gap, if there is someone. For example, if you have a good product but you don't have zone B4, 4B stability, so please let me know that so we can avoid losing time in the future, or it can be more specifically when we are analyzing the opportunity.
Alejandro, what about you?
Okay, for me, it's pretty important that we think that we work as a pharmaceutical company and we are focused on how to provide good quality, good medicine to the patients. So my expectative, I think that's pretty simple. It's why this deal that we can do together will be better to the patient's life. What's the purpose of this partnership? Because this is the key primary point. We do business for the better for the patients. So my question also is understand how company Sanofi and this company will do better for our patients' life.
And I guess the question I initially asked was about the actual invitation to secure that meeting with you. And Carolina, you told me a little bit about what they should actually have in the meeting presentation, and it's great advice to highlight those gaps so there are no misunderstandings. Alejandro, you mentioned several times about quality. Is this do you look for things like GMP certifications with potential partners? What are some of the quality metrics that you're looking for?
Yeah, of course that some standards are necessary. When I talk quality, I'm talking about the standards that we have in the pharmaceutical companies. So, of course, we need to have the zone 4 for stability studies. We need to have GMP. Of course, that the plant will be audited by Anvisa. This is the standard quality that a company to do some deal in Brazil will require. When I'm talking sometimes about also qualities, the quality that we are bringing to the patient, I could not be very clear, but when you're talking about a partnership, of course that we are doing business and we are sharing some kind of financials. But the real focus here is how to give quality to these patients, to the life of these patients. If this makes sense, then we can think and then we can do deals. For Sanofi, since we have, for example, even Genzyme, as a heart disease company, we can look for very hard profile of products to develop in Brazil and to do partnerships in Brazil. So when I receive the request, for me it's important to understand the company profile, how is the standards that they are going, what will be the benefit for the patient, and with this combined, we will have the 30 minutes to meet and try to think some business case or how can be the business model of that, going after to a CDA and starts to do some discussions on profitability, on how to share the earnings. But the first moment, what's important is understand the patient need.
Regarding quality that you mentioned, Sugato, when you take, like, for instance, the biosimilar landscape in the world, many companies, big and medium-sized companies, they are investing in a two-step model for their development. So first, they are considering, for instance, the opportunity in emerging markets, in which most of the countries have no highly regulated landscape. So they could try to bring in to these markets less developed compounds, like, for instance, a MAB, monoclonal antibody that was developed, a biosimilar one, but if the phase 3, the clinical trial phase 3, was not head-to-head, it's not compared to the originator. There are some countries in the world, in the emerging markets, that accept such development. Brazil is not the case. So there are several examples of quality differences between what the regulatory agency in each country understands what is needed for a true biosimilar to be registered. So in Brazil, we don't have room for these partially developed biosimilars. So this is what I mentioned, like companies that approach Brazil as they would be approaching other countries like India or China. This is not the case. So in many cases, we would need substantial additional development. So this is the trade-off about investing a bit more in that development or going to other under-regulated markets.
So let me pose a little bit of the reverse question of what I just asked. I asked for some tips and advice on making a good invitation or a partnering presentation. What are some red flags? What are some of the things that are absolute do not do's during a partnering invitation or presentation? What are some of the things that you've experienced which says do not move forward?
Well, I see like tricky things, like if you cannot sell your capabilities well, talk about your company, your culture, and also about potential asset that you are looking for a partnership, it will be a problem. Another thing, in my opinion, is to look only for short-term partnerships. In our company, at least, we look and we have been growing in the past years through strategic partnerships and long-term partnerships. And also the business model itself must be like a win-win case, and not a one-side win case, So would be like red flags that I would point out here.
Any other do not do's from the panel?
I will say very basic thing, but it's important to mention: prepare yourself. Don't go unprepared. Take time to study a little bit about the company that we are supposed to meet, and what they're interesting, and how you fit their interest. So this will for sure make much more productivity meeting for both sides.
Great. So we are coming up against the hour, and we're getting into the last 10 minutes of it. So I'd like to open it up for some Q&A, and if we do have time after the Q&A, we can ask some more questions that I have. So Let me ask this question from our audience. How and to what extent do you see the recent consolidation trend in the pharma industry steering their focus towards Latin America? So again, you've seen certainly a number of M&A activity happen in the overall large pharma market. Do you see this steering more of the focus to the Latin American market or not?
Yeah, actually, I see that the Latin America, not only Latin America, but the emerging markets are even more the focus that these companies are putting efforts. So we see some good deals happening in Brazil. When you say about consolidation, if you think about big acquisitions, I think that this will be not more a trend since we have few companies nowadays. Of course, that can occur. We hear about some new news here, but when you think about Latin America, we are seeing companies moving to Colombia, moving to Argentina, moving to Brazil, and this could create some good room for business development, since we can try to do partnerships and try to find. On the other hand, as I said, when we start to do some acquisitions in Latin America for companies like us, sometimes we do not, the company by themselves want to enter in Brazil and to do their investments, and this is fair. So we can see a lot of movements of not new companies worldwide, but new companies entering Brazil or Latin America, investing to create their sales force, to promote their products. So this is creating some more difficult environment for business development. But it's fair, since we see the difference of growth in emerging markets versus other consolidated markets.
Yeah, and if I can add the comment from Alexander, I think also probably we're going to still see some kind of this merge or acquisition, essentially mainly from big global pharmaceutical companies that want to take advantage from the market trends, for the local market trends. As I mentioned before, we know that branded generic and generic are the main drivers for the market growth in the past years, and probably will remain in the next incoming years. So this is another strategy that's easy to see big companies buying or acquiring or merging with local branded generic focused companies or pure generic companies, not only in Brazil but also emerging markets, and it's as a strategy to also take advantage from these different segments from the market. So I think we can still see this type of business in the future.
Great, great. So let me jump to another question for the panel. What is your opinion regarding the biodiversity law in Brazil, which the asker postulates has been a bottleneck to research? So that may be a little pointed of a question, but so what are your thoughts of the biodiversity law in Brazil?
Okay. Well, it's still under discussion, right? And right now there's another revision of this landscape, and there has been a lot of effort trying to remove the bottlenecks, like some institutions or layers of regulation that keeps very difficult for all researchers in Brazil or companies trying to develop products from the Brazilian biodiversity. But this has been identified as an issue by all the industry, national and multinational, and everybody is working together. And again, currently there's a major revision that's being done on that legislation that may start fostering the pathway for this kind of development in companies.
So another question to the panel, and I think some of you mentioned it here and there, but at what stage, and I'm sure that the answer may be different for each panelist, at what stage do you typically get interested in a particular partnership? Have they reached preclinical? Is it late stage clinical? What stage should a compound be at for you to consider partnering or in licensing it?
Well, for us, at least phase 3 studies, clinical studies, in our headquarters, sometimes they see and they invest on preclinical and phase 1 and 2. But for the emerging markets, specifically for Latin America, phase 3 and already on the market products.
And Alejandro, what about you?
For Sanofi, I look for phase 2 onwards, but we have also another director from Sanofi, Dr. Jaderson, that will be on BioLatam. We work together, and all the bios we go together, and he looks from preclinical to phase 2 and phase 3. He gave me support also. So we look from the beginning to the end, but we split on business development when are more close deals to be made. I am in charge of that. When are more preclinicals or need more investment, it's under Dr. Jaderson's supervision. Both of us will be on bio, and we go to the meetings together to discuss and understand how one of us can manage that.
Good to know. Carolina, what about your perspective?
We are more in line with what Mundipharma also does. So very early stage molecules are treated in more specifically with the headquarter and the research development areas. So as an affiliate for Brazil and Latin America, we are looking for more phase 3 opportunities or already developed in the process of getting the market authorization or ready to go for it. So nevertheless, we can always be a door to put the inventor or the company that is developing these early stage molecules with our research development, which is not in Brazil, is in our headquarters in Japan.
Okay. And Tiago?
Okay, well, for biosimilars, we have partnered both for products in very late stage of development, since there are some products for which the patents have already expired in Brazil, but also with products that still have its development to be done, and we are going to do that together. But for innovative compounds, since we have been looking for partners worldwide for biosimilars, we always take advantage of the opportunities to look for innovative compounds as well. So currently, we don't have a restriction about the stage of development. We can partner on the proof of concept to the phase 3. We want to start developing innovative products together with companies that already knows how to do that, but there's no restriction about the stage of development.
Thank you. Another interesting question. This probably applies to everyone except Tiago. Do Latin American offices of global multinationals drive research and development for local indications of interest, such as tuberculosis? So again, to what extent are your regional offices influencing overall R&D for the multinationals?
Well, from our side, it's very, very difficult to find this kind of activities locally or even regionally. We focus this kind of activities and efforts on our headquarters, and I know that there they have some projects that for specific countries that they might study and look and invest for local diseases, but not here in Brazil and unfortunately in Latin America.
Okay, Carolina, what about you?
Yes, it's almost the same that Eduardo had mentioned. So we don't have specifically efforts here in Brazil or Latin America. It's more related to our research area.
Okay. And Alejandro?
As I said, here in Brazil, we have these specific areas not under my supervision, but by Dr. Jaderson's supervision. focus on strategic alliances and development on development in Brazil specifically. So we have focus on Chagas, on some leishmaniose and some other diseases that we work and develop together in Brazil. We have some focus here in Brazil on that.
Okay, and I think we have room for only one more question. Again, the questions that the panelists were not able to get to because of the time constraint, we will post on our Biotech Now blog. So you can go there to check out the answers to that. When the panelists get a chance to answer, please give them at least several days to answer it. And you can just search Biotech Now on Google to get to the address of the blog. So the last question is, what are the difficulties of overcoming inertia with Big Pharma? Big Pharma is expected to change its paradigm and move beyond pills. In your view, are they moving in the right direction? So maybe Alejandro, maybe I'll put you on the spot a little bit as the primary Big Pharma representative on this panel. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that going to your question, we are moving on the right direction, and of course that as any other pharmaceutical development, it's not quick and it's not easy to develop. And when you talk, for example, on deals, we can start to thinking, oh, technology is pretty important and how to deal with technology and everything else. But when one starts to discuss that, of course, that for pharmaceutical companies, we need to have the clinical trials. We need to understand it pretty well. It's different from we talk a lot about big data, real data, but how to put this as a medicine or put this as in a patient's life requires much more investment, requires much more analysis, not only an app that you download on your iPhone and tell us if you need to eat something or not eat something. We are talking about much more drug development deals. So when we think about technology, I think that we need to combine the speed that technology companies has, but also with the parsimony that pharmaceutical companies, it's mandatory to have that. So I'm pretty sure that all the big pharmaceutical companies are looking for this, and it will start to appear more deals on this side. But both companies need to work thinking together. Also, and I think that this occurs in any kind of deal that we're thinking about pharmaceutical companies on how the structure. New molecules are becoming even more difficult to companies to find that. So what we can do to also to support the patient is to bring more deals that we can expand the access of these medicines to the population. And each one of the companies here that we are talking are important players on the scenario.
Great, thank you. Any other views on the is Big Pharma getting to the goal and moving beyond pills model?
Of course, when as I said, beyond the pills is, for example, as I said, the partnership that we developed with Nestle in Brazil, it's not a pill, it's a meal. We are offering meals to the patients that they will help them to control their diabetes type 2, giving to them more very quality life to them. So we are thinking beyond the pills when we are talking about this. When you are talking about devices, for example, we have some specific medicines that we are talking about how this device will enhance this patient life. So devices is also another key thinking way for pharmaceutical companies. So beyond the pills, we are looking nowadays for Sanofi. It's how to help the patient life, and could be some device, could be some technology, could be some milk, anything that will be enhancing the patient life. We are considering to being part of our portfolio.
Great. Well, thank you. We have come up upon time for our webinar. I would like to very much thank our esteemed panelists, Alejandra Baggio, Carolina Trammell, Eduardo Suro, Tiago Guia, and my name is Shigato Das. Again, thank you so much for joining. There will be a recording of this webinar available that we will distribute. Also, any questions from the audience that weren't answered, we will pose offline to our panelists and post any answers from our panelists on our Biotech Now forum. We very much look forward to seeing you at Bio Latin America, the region's preeminent partnering conference, which really offers you a great opportunity to network, be a player in the local biotech market, and get the kind of business development that would take you probably years to have in any other forum, all in one conference. I'd like to thank Thomson Reuters and BioWorld contributions to this webinar. They offer great business intelligence tools which really help biopharma companies understand the competitive landscape. And for anyone interested in venture capital financing in biotech, our biotech business investor forum, or excuse me, our bio business investor forum is upcoming in San Francisco in October. So if you do have interest in getting VC funding, that is the place to go. So again, thank you for joining, and I'd like to thank our panelists one more time, and we look forward to seeing you at Bio Latin America. Good day, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good day, bye-bye.